get ourselves inserted into orbit, and we'll see how our actuals as far as fuel usage is looking when we get done. I'm expecting this to fall down to about 75. So, almost there. Good enough. Let's check it. Orbit is 24 by 26. That's looking pretty good. Now, right about 75. Here's the big question. In order to land, we want to land someplace interesting, like maybe this huge crater. We would need a braking maneuver here. About like that, which would only be a 2-second burn, and then we need a landing maneuver like so. All right, I need to do some thinking here. If this delta V is 35 meters per second, and it takes about 2 seconds to get that. That is about a, well, calculator time. We're going to be orbiting the moon anyway, but I just want to look. Calculator. All right, 35 divided by 2. So, per second, it's about 17.5 delta V, roughly. Okay, so here we are on the calculator. I'm trying to figure out how much delta V would actually take to land this thing. Looks like about 35 seconds to burn. 35. Okay. How do I figure this out? Oh, running these calculations is tough. Right now we're in orbit. All right, if I wanted to hit the brakes and fall down. It would be a 35-second burn. It'd be a 35-second burn, which is more than half of the liquid fuel that I know that we have, because we have 74, 1.17 is our consumption rate. We have 63 seconds of fuel. We need to decelerate. We would need to decelerate. We need to do a landing burn. We need to do a takeoff. I don't think we have quite enough to make a moon landing, but that's okay, because we're going to be getting a fairly decent funds injection and a crazy science injection when we get back. So what we're going to do instead, we've got all of our observations done here. We are going to EVA like it's our job, because it is our job. All right, Jeb, tell us about what you see. Here's the moon's midlands. I'm going to review this report. We're 24 science. All right, let's not get lost. The craft is rotating on us, because that's what the craft does. It doesn't have any autopilot. Lights. F. Back on board. Okay, so these are the Midlands. Right around here, it looks like. We'll get over the lip of this crater and do another EVA. Just fast forwarding around here. So, right here, I don't know why my frame rate's tanking, but it is. We are going to go ahead and EVA one more time. This time he didn't let go, that's good. Get an EVA report for 24 more science. And I'm willing to bet that this might be a canyon or something, so we'll go ahead and try an EVA over that. Whoa, 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 I flew right past it. I didn't mean to do that. I hit the wrong button for time warp. Okay, this might be something. Should be something. EVA. Whee! There he goes. He's going to do an EVA report while spinning. There's another one around the Moon's Midlands. That's not going to do us any good. So it's always about the light touch. You just want a little bit of touch here and there when you're EVA, so you don't get yourself lost and stranded and all sorts of crazy stuff. Bored anyway. So if those are the Midlands, here's another crater that's going to be in the dark. Or just, you know, it's going to be at sunset, basically. Lights. RCS on. EVA report. Oops. Let's review that report. The Moon's far side crater. In we go. I said... Oh no, I bumped it. I've bumped it. There we go. Board. We have plenty of battery juice. Plenty of battery juice. I can see a slight difference in coloration over here, so I'm going to see if this is anything interesting. On the Moon, once again, EVA, R, L. This is the Midlands. That's probably going to be the same that we have before already, once again. I don't see anything that looks like it'd be terribly elevated or anything. We'll go ahead and survey over this crater here. This is probably the Highlands. Let's see what this darker coloration is. Maybe that's the lowlands? Nope, still the Midlands. So one thing we do have to keep in mind is every time we do a little bit of EVA, we use our RCS fuel that's stored in the capsule. But that's okay, bored anyway. You know, we have plenty of it. Okay, let's get over this crater and take a look there as well. Jeb, you crazy guy. The Moon's east crater. Keep that data. So this is a really great way to get a whole bunch of science as we go around here. These are probably going to be the Highlands. I'm going to try it. Let's see if this qualifies as the Highlands. Here we go, the Moon's Highlands, 24 more science. Equatorial orbit. I'm kind of thinking about going for it. I'm really thinking about going for it. All right, here's the deal. We're going to go for a lunar landing. We're going to try it. If I had a smaller engine, see, I didn't need this engine that's this big. If I had a smaller engine, I'd have much better delta V because I wouldn't be carrying as much weight. That's what this gets down to. But this is what we have, so we're going to go for it. Okay, my abort point is 35 kilograms or tons or whatever it is, 35 units of liquid fuel. If I get down to 35 units of liquid fuel and I have not yet set down on the surface of the moon, we're aborting and getting out of there because we know that's bingo fuel. That is the amount of fuel we have to get home. Actually, it's more than that because we got to be able to not only get back into orbit, we have to be able to get home. Crap. Okay, bingo fuel is set for 50. That's what that gets down to. We're going to bingo out of here at 50. The moon's going to rotate underneath us a little bit. Not much, though. In fact, I'll go ahead and bring this in a smidge so I have more of a flatter spot. Okay, again. So here's what I'm doing for my landing to help me as a guide. I'm adding a maneuver right at the landing point, basically. Full delta V in reverse. Tells me that it's going to be 37 seconds of... Oh, I'm also curious. Okay, so if we do that, how much does it take to... How much does it take to... Because we have 75 seconds. So 72 minus 30 is... 72, was it 30 or 35? I'm going to say 35. Leaving us 37 seconds worth of fuel. It costs a minimum of 14 seconds. Minus 14. Leaving us with 23 for takeoff. Nope, we're not going to be able to pull it off. We're not going to be able to pull off a moon landing. That is unfortunate. We just don't have enough fuel for this. That's okay. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is, since we know we can't land, I'm going to go ahead and get myself set up to return to Kerbal. And doing so is actually just a matter of positioning a maneuver node so we're going around the moon this way. If I position a maneuver node here so that by the time we leave the moon's sphere of influence, we're sort of heading backwards with respect to Kerbal, it'd be just like pointing retrograde, right? So the more orbital velocity I set here, the more backwards against the Kerbal's sphere of influence, and we can actually go ahead and set ourselves up basically for a re-entry attitude where we don't need to spend any more fuel to get us onto the surface. And that would do it. We're going to be coming in at lunar velocities, so I kind of want this closer to 30,000 meters. So it's a 17-second burn to essentially get out of here. We know it's about a 35-second burn to get up off the surface. And we know it takes 35 seconds or so to land on the surface. And we just don't have quite enough to pull it off. That's really going to bum me out a little bit. We'll have to see in the next episode if we can get enough science, maybe some more parts to mix things up with. Okay. I am going to coast over the moon here. We're a ways away from the maneuver. So we'll glide over the surface of the moon here as we head on over, and catch you guys in a little bit. Every once in a while, we have to remind ourselves to take a look at the simplistic beauty that they've programmed into this game. So here it is. Essentially, Kerbal rise over the dark side of the moon, as seen by Jebediah Kerman inside inside his ship. What is this thing? The Estes 8. Use a little bit of RCS or a battery to maneuver a bit. There it is. Kerbal rising over the dark surface of the moon from the dark side. Let's go ahead and get ourselves to that maneuver node and head home. Alright, on the map, we are about a minute away. So I'm going to go ahead and get myself facing this correct direction. Directly directed in the right direction. And fast forward time a little bit until we get to our burn. Once again, for accuracy, I'll do this at 50% thrust. At 17 seconds. Here we go. So this is now our Mooner ejection burn. We're just ejecting ourselves from the Mooner's sphere of influence to get us back to Kerbal's sphere of influence. Don't quite have the sun shining on us. We're not going to have the sun shining on us for a while, so that's why I'm doing this on the map, because the view gets pretty boring otherwise. And shut down. And anything else we can do is fine tuning after we leave the moon's sphere of influence. So I am going to, actually, I'm going to go ahead and, before I leave the moon's sphere of influence, I do want to capture some science high over the moon just for a little bit of extra. So we'll go ahead and fast forward to, somewhere out here. And we should be able to target our craft now. Here we go. Before I leave the moon's sphere of influence, we're going to go ahead and get out of this cockpit view that I was doing for that cinematic. EVA. And get ourselves an EVA report from space high over the moon. And we're back on board. Okay. Go ahead and get a sphere of influence change over here. Just like so. And our periapsis is a little bit low. I don't want to be coming in that hot, generally. So we'll go ahead and raise it to about 30,000 meters, which is going to be re-entry attitude. Now, here's some stuff that we need to do. We know that this science is going to be destroyed. These instruments and scientific stuff is going to be destroyed, and it still has all the science inside of it. So what I need to do is actually go ahead and EVA, get the lights on, well, get Jeb stable. Silly Jeb, what are you doing? Get stable. There we go. So what I need to do is just get in range of each of these experiments actually here. Collect the data. Collect this data. And one more. Right here, so that I get close enough. Okay. So these experiments can no longer be used. They can't be reset or anything. I have the data collected. Now it is just time to get on board again. But, you know what? Before I get on board... Nice little cinematic once again. Now the question is... Whoa, what are you doing? Camera shenanigans are really freaking me out here. I'm just going to go to free camera so I know what's going on. Because the camera keeps changing on me. And board. Okay. So the question is, with the cinematics, do I use them in the episode as transitions, or do I use them in the credits as extra features? We're still coming in great. We know all these experiments are good. We'll go ahead and quick save just in case, but I think at this point, auto. We're just going to let our ship approach and fall into the atmosphere of Kerbal. So here we go. What I need to do, I don't want to go prograde or retrograde. I need to aim this north, like so. Activate staging. Parachutes are active. We have all of our data on board. We are now set to land. From here on out, it's all gravity and atmosphere bringing us in. So, yeah, we're going to just deactivate SAS and let ourselves come on in. Alright, our ship is now decelerating in the ever-thickening atmosphere as we come on down on the dark side of Kerbal. You can see the effects of the re-entry on us here. Let's see what it looks like from inside the cabin. You can see the ionization happening. Looks like we're about to get to sunrise here, though. Or that's just the Milky Way. So yeah, re-entry interface so far is going good. Instruments are reading fine. We're barely pulling a G and 1.5 Gs of deceleration, which is really nice and light. You know, having too many sustained Gs will get you in trouble, but 1.5 Gs, that is really manageable. In fact, it doesn't feel a whole lot heavier if you were to stand inside the cabin right now, as it tumbled a little bit. But if you were to stand up, it wouldn't feel much worse than standing on the surface of Kerbal. Here we go. We're now suborbital, heading on in, still decelerating, and looking great. So we'll go ahead and check in at chute deployment. Any moment now, there they go. Chutes have indeed popped open, and we're headed down for a nice splashdown. So we'll catch you guys at splashdown and check in for our mission status when we recover the vessel. Alright, here we are. We've splashed down. We see we have plenty of electrical charge and everything. So let's go ahead and recover the vessel and get all of our... So here we have achieve orbit around the moon complete, which was 15,000 funds and some reputation. Now we can go ahead and recover the vessel and get all of our stuff. We gained a metric ass ton of science. Let's go ahead and go through the entire report here. We have a crew report while in space near the moon, an EVA report while in space high over Kerbal, an EVA report from space just above the moon's midlands, an EVA report from space just above the moon's east far side crater, an EVA report from space just above the moon's far side crater, EVA report from space just above the moon's east crater, EVA report from space just above the moon's highlands, EVA report while in space high over the moon, a materials study while in space near the moon, a mystery goo observation while in space high over Kerbal, a mystery goo observation while in space near the moon, recovery of a vessel returned from a suborbital flight on the moon. A suborbital flight on the moon? Huh. That is pretty darn awesome, all the science we got. We didn't recover very many parts, you know, that's not the thing. We still have 96,000 or 76,000 funds. Our crew gained 3 experience points. moving him much closer to level 2, I guess, and total reputation of 617 now. We really need to start turning this reputation into money with our with a new updated program. Now we have some additional funds from transmit or recover scientific data from space around the moon, which is complete. We can go ahead and discard that. And that is going to be it for episode 14 of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. Until episode 15, once again, I will say keep flying and stay shiny. Goodbye!